I couldn't throw it out. I had to scream and shout. Before I turn to dust, I've got to throw it out. Before I turn to dust.
Hello, Sally Libby.
Hello, Michael Small.
This is it. The very first episode of our very first podcast, which goes by the name, I Couldn't Throw It Out.
So, before we get started, I want to ask you something. Are you actually ready to throw things out?
Well, I'm almost ready. Does that count?
Oh, come on. If you're not ready, why are we doing this?
That's a very good question. And I don't want to start tossing things until I give a very good answer. So this is a warning. If anyone does not want to hear why we're throwing things out, you should skip right now to the next episode.
Okay, see ya.
Wait, Sally, you have to stay.
But I already know what we're doing.
Good, then you explain it.
It's simple. You've got all this stuff that you saved, and you need to throw it out. But you can't bring yourself to do it. So, because you've known me a few years...
Since we were 10 years old.
Correct. And you've been roping me into projects for my entire life, you asked for my help with this one.
Actually, there's a lot more to it.
Such as?
Well, for one thing, I'm absolutely positive that many, many people in this world share my private habit.
Whoa. Stop. TMI.
Sally, I'm talking about the fact that many of us feel the urge to save things. I can't think of one person who doesn't save things. Can you?
I agree. There are a lot of savers out there.
I swear, it's part of human nature. So everyone reaches a time in life when they have to ask, what am I going to do with this stuff? Now, if you're like my parents, you just leave it behind for your kids who have to sort through it for weeks, then rent a dumpster to get rid of it.
Or if you're like me, you wait till the basement floods and then it's all ruined, so you don't have to keep it.
Well, that's where you and I are very different, because I've held on to everything I've collected since first grade.
Okay, that's new information. I didn't realize you were that extreme.
Yep. I've been a saver for 58 years.
And suddenly you want to get rid of everything? Why now?
There's a good reason, and here it is. Unfortunately, when I wasn't looking, I got old. So I started thinking about who might take my treasures when I'm gone. And then it hit me. No one wants any of it. Cindy and I never had kids, so I can't force anyone to inherit it, which leaves me with only one choice. I've got to get rid of it. I have to throw it out.
Calling internet influencer Marie Kondo.
I'm glad you mentioned Marie, because she's all about decluttering. And let me be perfectly clear. Our podcast has nothing to do with clutter. Seriously, this isn't about ugly shirts that I'm going to kiss goodbye as I thank them for their service. My objects are much more precious. The other day, I was talking about this with an excellent friend. He suggested that I'm an archivist.
Is that a synonym for hoarder?
Actually, I am a hoarder.
So I've hoard.
Ooch! I should have known that was coming. You are so well known as the mistress of puns.
I do enjoy a little play on words.
Yes, but we've got to set some limits. Let's say you're allowed 3 bad puns per episode.
Oh.
If you exceed your limit, you know what will happen?
Punishment?
Exactly. By the way, that was pun number 2.
Oh.
You got one more. Now, getting back to the point. Did you ever see those TV shows about hoarders?
Maybe once or twice. Depressing.
Yeah. And all the hoarders have one thing in common. They never admit to being hoarders. So, didn't I just tell you that I was a hoarder? It proves one thing. I can't actually be a hoarder. So this podcast is not about a major mental disorder. It's just about a bunch of smaller ones.
I've got a revolutionary idea, Mike. If you're no hoarder, why not carry those boxes to a big trash can and drop them in, like right now? Then you're done with it.
Sally, you're missing the point.
In what way?
Okay, consider this. For people like me who collect things very carefully, all these objects are evidence that we existed, that we cared about things, that the events in our lives mattered. And every one of those objects is packed with memories. If we toss them, we toss all those memories. But if we save them, look at them later, you know what happens?
Yeah, you get lost in the past and never return.
Actually, it's the opposite. All those memories come into the present as stories. So, in a way, I'm not hoarding things, I'm hoarding stories.
So you're telling me that the real value is in the stories, not in the things, right?
I think so. Maybe. I mean, an old concert ticket is worthless till you tell the story about the concert, right?
Yeah.
And when you talk about the events like that, it lets you process what happened, make sense of it in a way that you couldn't when you were right in the thick of it. After that, it might even be possible to throw out the objects.
I'll believe it when I see it.
And I'm sure you will, because in each episode of our podcast, I'll reach into one of my 24 boxes and retrieve an object or a bunch of objects, and then I'll tell you the story behind it. That way, you'll help me save the stories, and then you'll also help me throw out the objects.
You really think total strangers want to hear about your possessions?
I don't know for sure, but there are so many people who can't bring themselves to look through their own stuff. Maybe if you and I endure the surprises and the pain and the embarrassment of reviewing every object I've saved, other people might get some kind of vicarious benefit, or maybe it'll inspire them to do the same.
You forgot one key detail.
What's that?
All I can see is your face on my computer screen. How will I know you're actually throwing things out?
Here's what I'll do. For every episode, including this one, I'll have two devices by my side, a trash can and a shredder. See, look at this. Here it is. Trash can, voila. And you can't see it, but over here, there's the shredder.
Woo!
Everything must end up in one or the other, okay? And maybe I'll use this extra box over here just in case I find something that I can't quite discard.
That sounds like a little bit of cheating to me.
It won't be much, and I'll really try to toss the rest, no matter how painful it is.
Just so I can prepare myself. Is there any chance I could get a little preview of what to expect?
Oh, that's easy. Since I know you like the juicy stuff, I'll give you a sample from the 80s and 90s, back when I was working for People magazine.
I always had so many questions about celebrities, but you would never ever answer any of them.
And it infuriated me that all you wanted was the dirt about big stars. When I was trying to write meaningful, interesting, investigative stories, not just gossip.
It was People magazine, not the New Yorker.
Nobody gave them credit for letting me write such cool stories. But now I get to prove it. Because in 2 or 3 of my boxes, we shall find an audio cassette and a transcript of every single interview I did for 15 years.
Oh, yes.
And those cassettes have names scribbled on them like Kiefer Sutherland, Drew Barrymore, Joan Namath, Keith Haring, Grace Jones. And let's not forget my cover story on Fabio, the King of Romance.
Was this before he smashed into a goose on a roller coaster ride?
Way before. He was still flexing his muscles on the cover of romance novels. Then after that, Fabio's manager hired me to ghostwrite Fabio's biography, which I think was around 69 pages. Just happened to have a few extra copies right over here. Pulled them out of one of my boxes. They could be yours for the asking.
Gee, I'd beg for one, but I've got to go feed the dog.
Now, just in case you've forgotten, I was never a star writer at People. I was mostly third string, struggling for 15 years to reach second string.
They should have sent you for string training.
Pun number 3, you've reached your limit.
Peaked too soon.
Don't worry, so do most of the people I interviewed. Anyway, what I said is true. My archive pales in comparison to other reporters. However, I did write the weekly gossip column. Remember that? It was called Chatter.
Oh, yeah. That was on the back page.
That's when I collected a lot. Like, I still have the invitations to celebrity parties, the While You Were Out note from Andy Warhol, photos of me with Yoko Ono, with Richard Gere, and of course, there's every expense account I ever wrote where I justified things like lunch at the Russian tea room with Boy George's friend Marilyn, and on and on.
Very justifiable.
Then there was my side hustle, the book I wrote about rap music in the early 90s. So I have every tape of every interview with Ice-T, Ice Cube, Queen Latifah, Will Smith.
Please don't tell me that he slapped you.
Nah, I was safe. It was a phone interview.
I guess you do have some surprises in those boxes. Are you sure you want to throw out those interviews?
I thought about that. But every celebrity who talked with me has done a ton of interviews. And you could get them all on YouTube. The one thing that's different is that I know the backstory. In my boxes, there's evidence of what was going on at that moment for both of us.
So it's more about what happens when two people meet and one of them happens to be famous.
Exactly. Of course, the celebrity stuff fills up only about a quarter of my boxes. The rest of them hold the same kind of stuff that everyone else saves. Family histories, school projects, hobbies. I would argue, even though you and a million others might disagree, that the stories lurking in those objects are just as powerful, maybe more so, than any celebrity interview. And I am determined to prove that to you.
Well, you've got your work cut out for you.
Come on. I know I can convince you that there was a good reason to save my origami scrapbook from elementary school. Why was I obsessed with folding paper? That's what we got to figure out.
Does it suffice to say that you were just weird?
No, that's too easy. Of course, you might say that about my Creepy Crawlers collector's kit, which is full of multicolored giant plastic insects that I cooked in my thing maker when we were in 5th grade.
Don't tell me you saved everything from 5th grade.
Well, I do have a wooden ruler with the name of our classmate in block letters on the back. I borrowed it in 5th grade and I forgot to return it. Michael Hanlon, if you're out there, you can have it back now.
I'm just praying that you left me out of this.
Oh, I'm afraid your prayers have not been heard. Because I also have every card or letter that anyone sent me since I was 6.
What?
Yes, listeners, if you ever wrote to me, I have it. But do not worry. Nothing will be shared that would embarrass anyone other than me.
I can't believe you kept all this stuff. Where did you put it?
Well, at first I kept it in my desk in what I called my personal memories drawer. And when the drawer got full, I moved it to cardboard boxes. And when the boxes disintegrated, I moved it to plastic boxes. And now I've got 24 of them.
And you lived with them for 20 years in your New York apartment?
Nah, I got help from an extremely important person. It's someone who is really, really different from you and me, Sal. For one thing, that person is sane. She is reasonable. She hates being the center of attention. And yet, ever since she sat next to me in 7th grade French class, I've been driving her crazy by advertising her many fine qualities. Everybody who knows me has heard about this person and heard how great she is. So until she cries foul, I think we can call her the very famous Nancy.
Don't tell me Nancy is helping with our podcast. She does not seem like the hoarder type.
That's putting it mildly. She hates clutter. She throws things out while she's still using them. But she's also an excellent friend. So, if you wanted to check out my 24 boxes of possessions, you got to ask Nancy. Listen to this. Okay, and where are we now?
We're just outside my garage.
And let's go in and take a look. Okay, over in that corner, I see something really excellent and full of a lot of promise and excitement. What do you see?
I see a lot of boxes of old papers.
So I first came to you and I said I wanted to put the boxes in here, and what was your first reaction?
I was very hesitant because I had just cleaned out a lot of garbage from this garage. I didn't want to put anyone else's junk in it.
And so then there was a change in your attitude, and I'm curious, do you remember why you changed?
Well, you told me what you were paying for your storage unit in New York.
Do you remember what it was?
I don't, but I remember I was horrified.
$150 a month.
And you would pay that to store this?
Yes.
Indefinitely.
So when you heard that, you changed your mind.
Yeah, I thought I can do this for Michael.
What was our agreement of what would happen between now and that moment when the boxes have to come out of this garage?
If I move out of this house or die, you have to get rid of all this stuff.
But your kids are our godchildren, so I feel like it would be worthy of me to leave it to them.
I don't want my children to have to deal with them. I've been killing myself so my children don't have to deal with all my stuff.
If we flash forward into the future 2 years, where do you want these boxes to be?
At your house.
So you see, Sal, I have no choice. I gotta get those boxes out of Nancy's garage.
Aren't you moving to a house with an attic? You can take them back now.
Oh, that's not happening.
Why not?
Because of another person, the most important person of all, the one I vowed to love and protect.
Could this be the person you married?
Yep, it's Cindy, also known as the greatest artist in America. If anyone doubts me, go to cindyruskin.com. That's cindyruskin.com.
I do love her paintings.
I totally agree. Of course, some people are waiting for her to be famous before they give their approval. But when her art starts selling for vast sums of money, who will be laughing then?
Probably Cindy.
You're right. She's kind of a laugher. Listen to this. And I didn't do anything special to get that. I just turned on the tape recorder. She seemed to find the microphone funny. Anyway, if I leave this planet before Cindy, she'll be left with those 24 boxes of stuff.
Okay, that's the last straw. I've got to help you get rid of this stuff.
Yay, Sally! I know this might shock you, but I just happened to pull a couple special objects out of my boxes, ripe for the tossing, and both of them involve you. Here's a goodie. It's a holiday card that you sent us a few months ago. On the outside, there's a picture of some holly next to 2 cups of cocoa with marshmallows and a message that says, "Our friendship is made of 1,000 little moments of joy and warmth and sharing."
Aww.
Then on the inside, you wrote, "And bickering and attacking and accusing and neglecting."
Oh, so true.
Well, Sal, what do I do with this? It definitely made me laugh. If I throw it out, it'll be the first card you ever sent me that I haven't saved. Can I do it? Can I shred it?
Yes, away with it.
All right, well, first let me take a photo for the website. Here we go. Into the shredder.
Bye-bye.
Yep. Oh no. There it goes. Oh, I can't believe I did that. It literally hurts. You know what my first reaction is? I'm wondering, could you buy that card again, write the same thing in it, and resend it?
No.
Ooh, you're so harsh. Before I start bawling, let's get to the other object. I don't know if you realize this, but there are very few photos of us from high school.
Of course, because selfies didn't exist in those days.
Okay, but I found a black and white picture that was taken on my porch. I see a wine bottle in the background where I was rooting a prayer plant. Obviously, I was praying for something. And in the foreground, there you are, wearing a t-shirt and overalls and a crazy look on your face. And I'm there with lots and lots of hair on my head.
I need to see that. Hold it up to the camera.
Here, look.
Oh, you did have a lot of hair back then. And a checked shirt with a very wide collar.
When I found this photo, I was so happy that I showed it to Cindy. Cindy, I found this picture of Sally and me, and I was really happy when I found it because I used to think I was the ugliest person in the high school. And then I saw this and I didn't look so bad, do I?
Let me see. Well, it's not very masculine.
That isn't exactly what I was hoping you would say when you saw the picture. I thought you would say the picture looked good.
Well, it's really cute. I mean, it's sweet for a little boy.
But I was in 12th grade.
Oh my God, for 12th grade?
Okay, Sal, I'm definitely ready to throw this out.
No, send it to me. I want it, then I can throw it out.
That doesn't sound like the best start to our project, but okay, I'll take a photo of it for the website, and then I'll send it to you tomorrow via U.S. mail. I just hope we'll inspire others to do better. In fact, here's a little experiment for the folks at home. Listeners, later today, reach into a drawer or box, dig out something you've saved, and tell someone a story about it. Then take a photo of it, go to our website, and share your story with us. It all happens at throwitoutpodcast.com.
We should look through for the best ones, stories that is, and invite those people on the podcast. Then we'll get them to answer the same question that's bothering you. Can you throw it out?
I knew you'd get the hang of this project.
Before it wears off, I think we've reached the end for today.
Almost. Now that we've explained ourselves into the ground, we need a cliffhanger. Like, can I possibly throw out the 4 cassette tapes of my 1985 interview with Joni Mitchell?
That's a good question. Can you do it?
Well, to get the answer to that question, and to hear my never-shared interview with Joni, you will have to return for the next episode of Sally.
I couldn't throw it out.
Yeah.
I couldn't throw it out. I had to scream and shout.
Many thanks to everyone who gave us guidance and encouragement to create our podcast, including the world's greatest artist, Cindy Ruskin, the world's greatest advisor, Ed Hernstadt, our brilliant audio consultant, Willie Mandeville, our number 1 encourager, Nancy Strauss, our original encouragers, Catherine Whalen, E.J. Fox, Kevin and Francis Waters, our graphic designers, Riley Welsh and Tayeb Cherfu, and our friend of a lifetime, the very famous Nancy. Plus, special thanks to Harmon Leon, who convinced me to start telling tales in public, and I haven't shut up since. If you're in New York City, be sure to check out his East Village storytelling show called Tale. And last of all, thank you to all our friends who are inspiring and wonderful. That means you.
I have something to add.
Cool. Add away.
I want to invite everyone to get the latest updates about our podcast by following us on Twitter and Instagram at ThrowItOutPod. Plus, you can hear every episode, get tons of background info, and tell us about your own treasures at our website, throwitoutpodcast.com.
And while we're at it, if you're feeling overly generous, do not squelch that feeling. You can really help us by searching for I Couldn't Throw It Out on Apple Podcasts and giving us a 5-star rating.
Let's wrap things up with our rockin' theme song, performed and co-written by Boots Camp and Don Ralph, leader of our favorite rock band, Life in a Blender.
You can also find links to their greatest hits on our website. Trust me, these songs are so catchy you gotta hear them. Ask my sister Lynn, she'll confirm it. In the meantime, you can dance around the room and sing along. At least that's what Sally and I plan to do. Right, Sal?
Right, Mike?
Okay, start dancing.
Out here in Nancy's, her big garage. This isn't a mirage. Decades of stories, memories stacked. There is a redolence of some irrelevant facts. Oh, I couldn't throw it out. I had to scream and shout. It all seems so unjust, but still I know I must. Before I turn to dust, I've got to throw it out. Before I turn to dust, I've got to throw it out. But I couldn't throw it out. I couldn't throw it out. I'll sort through my possessions in these paper sessions. I guess this is what it's about. The poems, cards, and papers, the moldy, musty vapors. I've just gotta sort it out.